Treatment for mental illnesses, such as depression and anxiety, shouldn't stop at prescribed medication. Reliable research is showing aerobic exercise can be just as beneficial, if not more, for managing mental health.
To the afternoon, a little gentle break in between. We'll start by just closing the eyes. And you'll take a big sip of air in through the nose. For now, exhale through the mouth. A nice audible breath. Breathe in.
So just tell us your story.
So thanks for having me. I'm Kelsey. So I got into yoga. I think the yoga studio by my house popped up when I was 14. And originally I was drawn to the physical aspect of the practice. I broke tore 3 ligaments in gymnastics, and my doctors were like, you can't be doing this sport. And so I wanted to have another outlet for that physical practice, and I did some yoga, and then I think it took me a year or two, and I realized I kept on coming back not only for the workout, but I started to feel less stressed and less anxious. And during that time period, I was in high school, and I just never really fit in. And my parents one day just saw how overcome I was with anxiety and depression, and they were like, we need to bring you to see someone. So I went to therapy, and psychiatrists, like, we're all probing around in my head, and they gave me a bunch of different medications, and for a while it was okay, but they kept on adding more and more prescriptions, and it was to the point when I was a freshman in college where I was on 13 different prescribed pills, and when they wanted to like start testing my organs, and you could have the side effect of being suicidal from the pills that were helping me not be suicidal, I was like, wait, like, yeah. I need to take charge of my mind. Right. So I found that other yoga classes that focused on meditation or more slower flow, I could incorporate that into my power classes, and I realized that the spirituality of yoga was as important as the asana, the poses, the postures. So I started staying in with my yoga practice every day, meditating, and I realized I could wean myself off the medication because I had control of my own mind and body. And I still have my bad days, and I still had mental hiccups, but it was as comparable as being on the medicine. And I don't advise anyone to go off their medications, but for me, it just helped understand my own mental mapping and my own triggers, and I just don't think kids sit with themselves enough and understand their own emotional process, and just honoring that you can have relapses or mental breaks, but it doesn't mean that every day is gonna take you down.
Kelsey is not alone. 1 in 5 adults have a mental health condition. That's over 40 million Americans, more than the populations of New York and Florida combined. Also, the rates of youth with severe depression increased from 5.9% in 2012 to 8.2% in 2015. Even with depression, 76% of youth are left with no or insufficient treatment. Notre Dame College sophomore volleyball player Loyana Hunter has a similar story.
How do you use exercise, specifically volleyball, to combat your depression?
So I have both depression and anxiety, so what I do, when it comes to games and stuff, the only thing I think about is the game or practice. So then when I'm not thinking, it makes everything slow down in my head, so it makes me feel a lot better. If that makes any sense at all. But so mostly it's just thoughts. So when you have depression or anxiety, you have a lot of thoughts in your head, and a lot of times they're bad thoughts. So when I'm here, I'm more focused on doing these things right, practicing right, and doing better instead of what's going on.
How do you mentally feel before exercising versus after exercising?
Okay. So when it comes to certain mental health issues, it's not a constant thing every day for all people. So So it can happen on certain days. Like, so if I have an episode before I come to practice, at the beginning of practice, I'm really down or have an attitude. But after, if like practice goes good and we have fun, then I'm more like uplifted, even with workouts. And then that's about it. It always depends on the day, how I'm feeling.
Studies have been consistently reported that exercise can be a useful substitute for antidepressant drugs. Notre Dame College's mental health counselor and outreach coordinator, Desiree Morrison, shares her insight.
The most common reason people seek counseling is anxiety,
Okay.
especially college students, but that's the same even out in the community. I have a private practice too, and anxiety is what brings most people. So percentage-wise, I would say probably at least 70% have some anxiety or depression. Not necessarily clinical. It could be mild, it could be adjustment. My personal opinion and experience with it is it's sometimes as effective. Research shows physical exercise can be as effective at times as psychotropic medication, antidepressants, and anti-anxiety meds. All of us therapists have our own different theoretical orientations or like models that we follow, but overall in general we are all holistic and see a person as, at a minimum, mind, body, spirit. So there's a huge connection between physical health and mental health.
So just tell us about where you are now with your mental health and yoga.
So after I realized that I had this own personal journey, I wanted to become a yoga teacher to help other people, and even if they didn't have a mental illness. So I did my teacher training, and I started realizing I could take my own life back. And since I became a teacher, you think that you keep on giving when you're teaching and you're not keeping anything for yourself, but I found the opposite. Like, every person I touched helped me feel like I was making a change. So I grew that way in my yoga practice by always knowing that I could be a student no matter how far into the years of teaching I went. And because of this yoga community that is around the world, I feel more confident going and finishing school. I was out of school when I was on all my medicines. I was in a fog and I had to transfer colleges, and now I'm graduating, which I would have never, if you told me that 4 years ago, I would have probably laughed in your face. So yoga can be taken off the mat, which is amazing. You can have yoga in your car when you're in traffic jams and you just learn how to breathe. And so it's helped me just become a better person and achieve my goals of graduating college, and I'm sure it's going to help me in my next stage of life, whatever career path I choose. But yeah, I definitely have grown as a teacher and a student, and now I see the total brightness and lightness and happiness that I was like searching for, and now I'm just trying to give it back to other people.
Thank you.